my energy's there. It's going to be a
What's it
bugger.
say?
You're live.
We're live. Good evening. This is Kathy Opperman, and I'm here tonight at the Empowering Youth Center with Matthew Mitlas. And we are going to live stream our session. Matt's actually going to monitor on his cell phone. So if you see him looking down, he's not doing something elsewhere. He is looking to see if any of you make comments or questions during our session tonight, which is called How to Learn Patience. How do we look? We look good?
Look good.
Okay. So, patience. Lots of people say, if I only had patience, if I only had patience. So I am a certified life coach, and Matt is a certified yoga instructor. He's actually my personal yoga instructor now. And if you don't think that you can quiet your mind to do yoga, you definitely can. And I know some people here take yoga with us, and I have learned how to do it. So if I can quiet this mind, and Matthew can help me do that, then it's a miracle. It's truly a miracle. So we're going to talk about patience. So patience, you either have it or you have to learn how to have it.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. I mean, what do you? Is that a true statement?
Well, I think everybody, on the whole realm of emotions and qualities, we have everything somewhere in us. I guess you could say some people could work to cultivate it more than others. I myself am actually a very impatient person.
Are you really? I didn't know that. Oh, get out.
So you might not know that because I really have to put a lot of effort in practicing patience, and that's where the yoga practice really helped me. And it's still a process, and I'm not claiming to be the most patient person ever. I still deal with the things everybody deals with, like impatience on the road or when you have to wait in a line, things like that. But I really feel like yoga and the practice of mindfulness has equipped me with the tools, easy tools to cultivate and practice patience. Patience is a practice.
It's funny that you say about driving, because I was on the road here tonight and I got behind a truck, and on the back it said, "Thank you for your patience," on the back of the truck, and I was like, well, there was some way I could show that to you, and I'll post it later. But when driving, we get impatient.
Yeah.
And you use the word called mindfulness. It's a new buzzword around.
Yeah.
What is mindfulness? What does it mean to be mindful?
So mindfulness is a practice, and it's often incorporated into types of meditation. But mindfulness and meditation, I would say, are different in a sense. You can be practicing mindfulness and not actually be meditating, in a sense, in a state of elongated focus. And you can also be meditating with a sense of mindfulness, or it could be called an insight meditation.
Okay, when I hear the word mindfulness, to bring it a little more mainstream for me, I think of to be mindful, meaning be aware of how
Correct.
I'm feeling.
Yeah, it's really a practice of cultivating awareness, cultivating what's referred to in the Kripalu school of yoga as witness consciousness, the ability to witness without judgment what's going on in my experience right now.
So that's powerful words. They're powerful words. To witness without judgment. So there's lots of things going on in the world that we're witnessing right now. There may be things in our homes that we witness, and we immediately go to judgment.
Right, that we react.
Exactly. We react just with our thoughts, right? Not even with physically doing something or even saying something. We react with what we're thinking.
Yeah.
We start judging people, we start judging the circumstance, and then that starts causing what?
Well, the vibes shift. You start thinking of more, or being on the plane of more negative emotions, or being impatient, or anything else that might be kind of coming into the picture.
And when you're impatient, and audience here that's here to chime in anytime, when you're impatient, how do you feel inside? What happens inside of you? What kind of feelings do you have when you're impatient?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Yes, I know there are lots of people. Lots of young people. You're young. Do you have a lot of friends and a lot of that talk about being anxious? It's very prevalent, it seems, that so much is going on in our world, and we're very impatient. And if somebody doesn't respond to a text message to you, What happened? Like it didn't get back to me.
Yeah, you have this kind of general like yearning or waiting, and really, in a lot of things I've read, people kind of put this up to this sense of instant gratification we have because things come so quickly.
And we want them
these
quickly.
days.
We want fast food.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they have my meal ready when I get out the door? Why don't they have my coffee ready? Why?
Right.
We're in that, and that's creating a lot of lack.
So this is for sure where the practice of mindfulness comes in. So if you ask me, and I think probably a lot of people who practice meditation or mindfulness would agree, is that when you're impatient, you're not present. You're actually living in the future. You're living in expectation. So the practice of mindfulness anchors you into the here and now, and when you're practicing being present, you kind of learn to be patient with your impatience.
That's another, I want to say, buzzword, to be present.
Yeah.
So when you are thinking and worrying, and I heard some conversations before we started today, when you're worrying about what could happen, worry is not being present in the moment.
Right. It's living in the future.
It's living in the future of something that may not even happen. Right? Fear is something that may not even happen.
Yeah.
And so we're not being patient, meaning staying in the moment. If we can learn to stay in the moment, not only will you have more patience, you'll have less stress.
Yeah.
You have less anxiety because sometimes it's our thoughts that are causing it to happen. So the first thing I believe you have to do when you're stressed, when you're lacking patience, is to first be aware, and you use that word.
Right.
Awareness. Be aware, like, something's not working, I'm not feeling right, because your heart may beat fast. If you're getting anxious, you're going to have other symptoms. I used to have anxiety, and I would get pins and needles in my hands, and that's because the oxygen is not going to your fingers and all, because I might be hyperventilating a little bit when you're anxious. So I've learned, I haven't had that in a long time, because I've learned to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about the power of breath.
So I guess as a general kind of umbrella here, we're here to really try to bring you some real life applicable techniques. So we're going to kind of just go through them.
Sure.
And so the breath is one of those fundamental techniques, and you read it everywhere in any book that has anything to do with meditation or yoga. The breath is that one thing that's always there for us, and it anchors us into the here and now. So I might add here that becoming aware, which is this idea of practicing mindfulness, is itself a practice. So I was thinking on the way over here, you really have to be willing to, I think, devote 5 minutes or to devote a certain activity like walking or driving to become a mindfulness practice. Because the truth is, if you don't practice it regularly and then something happens like really big, like you lose your job or you get in a car accident or somebody dies, you don't have the tools to deal with it, and now you're in that state of reaction. So this is such a special and easy practice to do every day. The breath is where we begin. So the idea is to just sit down, 5 minutes even, and just to close the eyes and become aware of the breath. So if we want, we'll do this shortly right now, just for a couple minutes. We close the eyes together, and just a little taste of what a mindfulness practice might look or feel like. To take your seat and to really become fully present and aware with everything that's going on in your experience right now. Once again, doing this without judgment. So we might come to see a sense of impatience lies somewhere within us right now. Or you might notice anything you're worrying about or you're anxious about. Something that you're waiting or expecting. And simply witnessing these things go through the mind. Let them do what they do and bring your awareness a little closer to the breath. And once again, without judgment, can you just be with each inhale and with each exhale? If the breath feels shallow, can you just let the breath feel shallow for now? And if the breath feels deep, to let the breath feel deep. And to whatever is going on in your experience, being fully present, to embrace all of it with a sense of awareness and compassion. And out of this evokes a sense of patience, of just being purely present and willing to sit here, to let things come and go, to follow the breath. And in doing this practice, you might start to notice that the breath naturally becomes deeper or fuller. You might tune into a natural expansion of not only the chest, but the rib cage, the ribs out to the side. A soft expansion of the lower abdominals outwards. And a simple practice just like this can be done at any point during the day. If you have even 1 minute of free time, to close the eyes and to just check in. What is going on right now? How am I feeling? What is my state of mind? And whatever is going on, can I meet it with the embrace of my awareness? You can open the eyes.
So some people may say they can't meditate. That was actually like a form of meditation we just did, a guided meditation,
Yeah.
right? Which just made you be aware. We were rushing to get started and everything, but just, I don't know what that was, 2 minutes maybe? I don't even know. I kind of lost sense of it because I was just focusing on what you're saying and just breathing. Did that help everybody here? Did that help you to just chill out? So if you give yourself that gift every day, every single day, and then as Matt says, when you get in a circumstance, if somebody's giving you a hard time, if you're in traffic and you say, I'm just gonna breathe through this, I'm being aware that I'm getting stressed, I'm getting upset, just breathe through it. And you said something very important before, and what I usually teach is you cannot control another person's actions. If someone's yelling at you, if there's an event going on, we have lots of things going on in the world, we can't control that. We can only control how we react to it. And the first thing we have to do is to be mindful of how is this affecting me, and what am I going to do about it?
Yeah. So
you said you're not. I'm a pretty patient person. My grandmother was patient. The rest of my family not so patient. My grandmother was very patient. You said you're, as a whole, not patient. Your younger generation. You grew up in, I have to have it now, I have to have it now.
Yeah.
You have cell phones, people text you, they want to be texted back, they comment, they want to come, did I like that post? Like, you're in a whole different, and I'm in there too, but I think it has to do, generational. Your generation struggles with patience.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think I could agree with that.
What do you think that they can do? Maybe there are parents out here and said, I can't get my kids to be patient. What would you suggest that they say, turn this video on and watch them breathe? What else can somebody do? How do you do it?
Applying the practice of mindfulness to your daily life. So this mini meditation that we just did, in theory, could be considered a formal mindfulness or a formal meditation practice where you maybe have a space in your house and you sit down, and even if it's for 5 minutes, you practice. You just practice being patient. You practice being with your breath, and of course that is really one of the most powerful ways for this idea of mindfulness to spill over into your daily life. And you could talk about having an informal practice. And this is really where, in yoga, a lot of times we say the practice, you take your practice off the mat, and this is where it happens, and it's really where, in a sense, the true practice begins. You can practice being mindful when you're eating, which also would have an entirely other host of benefits just on a physical level for the digestive system. But not watching TV while you eat, just being fully present with your food, chewing fully. You could try chewing at least 50 times, which is super difficult.
That's a lot, but I've actually learned, I heard that from you before, and I really take my time, and because it's so good for your digestion.
Yeah.
Especially sometimes we're just not the teeth are meant to help digest your food, and we're just eating really fast, and that's not good for your whole body.
Yeah.
There's a lot more work that has to be involved there. So when you think about what you're doing, slow down.
Yeah, and to really look at eating as consuming, and it's said in the practice that when we're eating, we're consuming not only the food, but really we're consuming the thought. Like, it's an act of ingesting things. You're consuming the thoughts or the stimulus that's around you. So if you practice being patient when you eat, or being fully present and alive with each bite, you're already ingesting a sense of patience, and you're cultivating that.
We're gonna talk about that 1 second, because I've learned this also. If when you're eating and you were constantly saying, I should not be eating this is not good for me. I get a hot fudge sundae maybe once a month. And if my cholesterol is high, I better not be eating this. If I keep saying all those things, my body is gonna think,
you're consuming guilt.
And it's not good for me. And it may not process that food the way it should be processed, because I've got some stress and anxiety that I'm causing myself going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And we call that sabotaging your joy, somebody told me. So if I really want a hot fudge sundae and I want to reward myself, as long as I'm not doing it every single night, when I eat that, I should eat it mindfully of enjoy the flavors, enjoy it, and don't keep saying it's bad, because ingesting guilt, that's another phrase I just learned, is not good. Yeah. Right?
Not at all.
So what does it do to you when you ingest guilt and anger and resentment and frustration? All those things.
It just keeps the cycle. The practice is about breaking the habits and making a new choice. So mindful eating is one way. Also, there's this really lovely practice that I learned from through reading this author named Thich Nhat Hanh, who's he has written a lot of books about mindfulness, and he practices walking meditation. And this is a really great way if you're at work and you have a lunch break and it's nice, you can take a little stroll outside. It's a little bit more accessible than sitting down with your legs crossed and getting all formal. So just to be fully present with each and every step. No iPod, no music, no texting. Give yourself 5 minutes and just take a walk, and take one step per breath. And it's the same idea of cultivating that mindful awareness. Things will come up. Actually, when I practice this, I actually would like to do it more often than I do now. But you really start to tune into tune into this sense, like, take the next step. You're like, where am I going?
You're thinking.
So really the practice becomes, can I be fully present with this step, even though I'm not going anywhere? And even though I'm not going to take the next step as soon as I think I'm going to, can I just be with that, like, unease, that sense of uneasiness with that? And maybe it will go away, and maybe it won't. But I still have the practice to kind of take me through it.
Well,
so that's mindful walking.
Well, and when you say that, just mindful walking, it's about